Here with me now is South Carolina Republican Senator Lindsey Graham. Thank you so much for being here, sir. You, of course, are now a close confidant of Donald Trump's. I want to start with how he did on Thursday night. His answers were long, and often he did not give a related answer to the question that he was asked. And by CNN's count, he made 30 false claims and didn't commit to accepting the election results if he loses. Why doesn't that give you and other Republicans pause about him?
Well, I thought he had a very good night. People who watched the debate thought the same thing, too. At the end of the day, he was strong, he was clear, he was coherent. But, you know, this idea that Biden had a bad night, that's not the story. He's had a bad presidency, had a disastrous debate. How could we get here? How could the American people see what they saw and not be forewarned? You got a compliant media who's written off the problems with President Biden. They've tried to soft sell this is attacked by the right wing, that he's compromised. There is no clean fakes here. The man is compromised, and the media has been covering. The policies of his administration are destroying the country, and the New York Times and the Atlanta Journal-Constitution want him out, but they think he's a good president. He's not a good president. He's a decent man. He's a failed president. He is compromised. That's the storyline here. That's what the world saw, a compromised president. And if you want to look at past performance to judge what's going to happen in the future, God help us all if Joe Biden gets reelected.
Senator, I do want to ask you about President Biden in 1 second, but just to follow up on Donald Trump, since you are effectively a surrogate and a supporter of his. I did ask him 3 times about whether he would accept the results of the election, whether or not he wins. And he only at the end said that if it was fair and legal and a good election. Are you comfortable with that?
Yeah, I mean, what are you supposed to say? Yeah, I'll accept it no matter if I thought I was cheated. I'm not worried about him accepting the results of the election. I'm worried about between now and November. Does Iran get a nuclear weapon because they think Joe Biden's so compromised he's not going to do anything about it? You know, Dana, y'all did a good job. You let him talk. You're not fact checkers. You let them talk. You know, 13 Americans did die in Afghanistan on Biden's watch from a disastrous withdrawal. But you got a compliant media and a lockstep Democratic Party who cheers bad policy. Have you heard one person named to replace Biden that would do anything different on the border? No. Have you heard anybody criticize his withdrawal from Afghanistan they're considering replacing him with? So this is a very dangerous time for America and the world at large. This election turned from this debate. Clearly, President Biden is compromised, but most importantly, his policies are not working. And Jim Clyburn said, if you like what's going on, you going to get more of it. 70% of the people in this country think we're going in the wrong direction. The Democrats keep calling President Trump a felon. Well, be careful what you wish for. I expect there will be investigations of Biden's criminality at the border. If I'm Mayorkas, I should be worried that somebody's going to come after you because you've abused the parole statute. The Hunter Biden laptop, all 51 of the people who signed a letter saying the laptop was fake and Russian disinformation. I hope somebody looks at you because that's election interference. So this country is going to have a resetting here, and using the Biden standard of glorifying political prosecutions, Pandora's Box has been opened. Whether he steps down or not, accountability is coming to him.
I want to get to a couple of important issues, sir, but you just warned of retribution.
Yeah. I warned that the Pandora's box opened by the Democrats is going to be applied here. There should be an investigation of Mayorkas and Biden for abusing the parole statute that led to the murder of Laken Riley. They let the accused killer out because of lack of capacity. They paroled him illegally. I think the criminality of the Biden border policy should be looked at. We should look at how people lied about the Hunter Biden laptop being fake when it was real. Yeah, I expect people to look at that. You had a January 6th committee looking at what happened on January 6th. I hope there'll be a committee looking at border policies that have led to the rape and murder of lots of Americans, people from 18 to 30 dying by fentanyl poisoning coming through a broken border. Yeah, I hope that does happen.
All right, I want to ask you about the Mideast, because you have been working to try to negotiate a defense agreement with Saudi Arabia. that could pave the way
Yeah.
for a broader normalization deal between them and Israel. The last time
Yeah.
you were on the show, you told me that you want to help President Biden get this done and that we're running out of time.
Still
Where does
do.
that stand now?
I am still trying to help President Biden and his team to have Saudi Arabia normalize with Israel. What needs to happen here is the war needs to lessen in terms of military conflict in Gaza. I think that's going to wind down, and they need to negotiate an answer to the Palestinian question, and I think the Crown Prince would recognize Israel, building on the Abraham Accords. President Trump said he wanted to end these wars as quick as possible. It may be possible between now and the election to come up with a solution in Gaza and the West Bank that not only would end the war, but allow Israel to live in peace and the Palestinians have a more hopeful life, and have the Saudi Arabia recognize Israel, which would be the end of the Arab-Israeli conflict. I'd like to help in that regard, but I am urging the American people to listen to what Congressman Clyburn said. He thinks President Biden's been a great president. He had a bad night. No, he had a bad night. He's had a terrible presidency. If you want more of the same, broken borders, a world on fire, out of control inflation, then you need to reelect President Biden. If you want to fundamentally change and go back to the policies of Trump, then you need to vote for him. Is that clear?
Senator Lindsey Graham, thank you so much for your time this morning. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.